Be mindful of the company you keep. People who are around you will always show you who they are. Believe them. We're walking out the door. As we're walking out the door, when I step my foot on the edge of the door, like the actual strip that separates the street and the door, pop, 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 I'm hearing shots go off. I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to balance my weight. I had to do physical therapy, occupational therapy, and mental health therapy. I was stubborn. I was angry. I was mad. I was hurt. It took me probably, I'll say, it's been 2 years. I'll say about a year and a half before I sat back and was like, you know what? I've learned so much more. I feel like being in it versus sitting back and watching someone, because when you're experiencing it as
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the CYR Podcast. Today we got a special guest here, Shannon Jackson.
What's up?
The barber.
What's up?
You in here. Tell us about you.
I'm a licensed master barber. I've been cutting hair since I was about 14 years old. I started kitchen haircuts, basement haircuts, pull-up haircuts. I now have my second shop. I just got done doing renovations and expanding. And I've been a business owner for coming on 8 years and about 3 months.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Master barber, what first inspired you to get into the barbering field?
So when I was about 12, back in the day, my mom used to have my cousins coming over cutting my brother's hair. And I used to always sit there and watch. And she had my other cousin coming over braiding our hair. And she would just pay them some little bread. But one day I was sitting there and my cousin was cutting my brother's hair. And I was just so intrigued and fascinated. And I was like, let me see the clippers. Can I see them? He put them in my hand and I ain't let him go since. He started teaching me how to fade, tapers, doing lineups. And he wasn't even licensed. To this day, he's still not licensed. He was just coming over because he knew how to do a little one guard against the grain and a nice little lineup or a little bowl cut back in the day. So my mom used to have him over. But that's where my interest began with cutting hair. It was just, after that, immediately I was just fascinated. I became the family hairstylist, the family. I was braiding, doing wigs. They had me doing so much crap. But when I actually got the clippers in my hand, that's when I was like, this is what I love. So yeah, we're about 20 years in now.
There we go. So do you have to be licensed to be a barber?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You have to be licensed to be a barber just anywhere. I would say in the state of Nebraska, I mean, that's one, but anywhere for you to work out of a shop. Now, when it comes to you cutting in your house, your kids or kitchen cutting, the state does not really, they can't do much about it. You know what I mean? They're not pulling up to your house to do an inspection. But in order for you to work in a shop, legit file taxes as a business owner and barbering, you have to have a license.
Yeah. So if I wanted to just start cutting hair, and I wanted people to pull up, because I know a lot of people do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no penalty, no backlash, no none of that for doing that.
I think that when you're doing it, because I used to do it before I got licensed. When you're doing it and you're pulling up to people's houses or you're doing it in people's basements, it's not that there's no penalty, but there's nobody finding you. Nobody's coming there the state's not pulling up. Especially if you're switching locations, somebody reports you, then yes, you can get a fine for that. But they have to prove it that you were cutting hair illegally, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's frowned upon. I'll say that. But if you want to go legit, you definitely need that license.
Makes sense. So what's the whole process of getting your license? Like, what does that look like?
So it's changed since I graduated. So in Nebraska, they used to offer a master barber's license. That's what I got. I was one of the last classes that got that. Now it's just a regular barber's license. The biggest difference is the hours. And I guess, being master, you get more hours, more time to get your license. So you work harder. Essentially, you know more, or you're supposed to know more. But I guess I'm trying to think of what you asked. My bad. The difference in
just the process of getting
getting it. Okay, so you have to, of course, go out and enroll into a barber school. They now have barber schools here in Omaha. So you have to apply. There's an application fee per usual. Once you get accepted into a barber school, from what I recall when I was there was not a minimum GPA. I know that you had to have your GED, or of course you have to have graduated your diploma. So it was just the minimum requirements, just like admitting yourself into it, because it's a trade school. Yeah. So there's certain requirements before you can get accepted into that. After you enroll, then there's a process of going through with. There's hours that you have to complete. When I was in barber school, there was a certain dress code, and they're very strict on your time management, the time you have to be there, your dress code, things like that. And everything is just calculated hourly. It's a full-time process. It was a full-time process. So much has changed. But it was hard for me to work a full-time job during that time. So I was working overnights in a homeless shelter. And people who are in barber school, I think it's best to go right after high school when you don't have so many obligations, because it's hard when you have children or you're married. And we was driving back and forth to Lincoln. It was just so many things that was going against us. But The ultimate process is to apply, get accepted, get funding, and start. But it's so worth the process if you're gonna take it seriously.
Most definitely. For you, how long did it take for you from start to finish, like to get through it?
Like I think I was right around 14 to 15 months.
Gotcha.
And now they have it down to 11 to 12 months.
Oh, nice.
So it went from 2,100 hours to 1,800 hours.
Oh, so they made it a little bit easier.
Oh,
for people.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard now that they're offering part-time too. When I was in barber school, they didn't have part-time.
That wasn't an option.
Absolutely not. They say either you're full-time or you're out and come back when you're ready.
Oh,
and the
dang.
full-time is like, it was like 8 a.m. till 5 p.m., like Monday through Friday.
So it was a job.
Oh, yes. And every other Saturday you had to be there too.
Oh, yeah, that's raw.
Oh, yeah.
That's
it was
raw.
Crazy. But I had so much fun.
Facts.
Definitely.
Facts. What types of things, of course you're working on hair, you're learning different techniques and different styles, but like what was that whole like process? Walk us through like a day of barbering school. Like what would it look like?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So starting off the day, first off, when I was saying like strict on time management, when I say strict, I mean 60 seconds strict. If you got to be there 8 a.m., if you clock in at 8:01, you're getting sent home. You're not getting your hours for the day.
Oh, dang.
It was very strict. I don't know what it is now, but when I was in, that's how strict it was. But starting off the day, of course, you start off, there's a half and half in the beginning where you do like half of your days in a classroom setting. The other half will be on the floor. On the floor, we would work on each other in the beginning. So students working on students, doing basic things like taper cuts, trimming ends. We learned how to braid, manicures, pedicures. We learned that taking care of a person in general is what barbering is. Barbering is just not cutting hair. I learned that in school. You learn how to color hair, treat hair. I mean, you learn how to do gray coverage. You learn how to grow hair. You learn the difference between certain products for certain textures of hair. So in the beginning, like the first half and half, the first half in the classroom was more about education of hair, history of hair, and how to take care of hair. Then the second half would be, okay, let's get hands-on. So that lasted, I would say, for about a good maybe 7 to 8 months. Then you start working your way out into the floor and you start taking on clients. Now, once you take on clients, the second half of barber school would be now you're on the floor about 80% of your day. The only time you're in the classroom was, again, to go over like the books, the knowledge, and take tests and pop quizzes and stuff. But when you got on the floor, you were actually doing clients' hair. And a lot of people, when I went in Lincoln, would come from from UNL, from wherever, bars around town, from wherever they worked at. They would just come because in a school, because you are considered almost like a test dummy. Yeah. Like you're coming and you signing off like, hey, your hair might get messed up, but it's only going to be $8. But we would always have like the teachers and the barber instructors who would be over us and shadowing us and kind of walking us through the process. So that was like the first half versus the second half. Hands-on. I love the hands-on. Most people do. The process is really just learning the history of hair, how to maneuver, control hair, how to cut hair with shears, how to actually use your clippers. Now, when I was in school, the clipper, we only did 1 week of clippers. And to this day, we complain about it. As barbers, 1 week of clipper knowledge, clipper usage.
Oh, that's
and
wild.
then they say, all right, bet, get out there and cut hair. So if I can go back and look at how many choppy haircuts all of us were sending out, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. But
wasn't blended on the
hard line on this side. He got a taper on the left, a fade on the right. Like it was crazy, but it was good times for sure. The process was really strict, and I love that. Like the instructor, and I give shout out to Miss Carol. That'll always be my favorite barber instructor because she was the strictest. And I was raised on tough love, so I know that tough love for me and my perception was love.
It means they care about you.
Come on, that was the real care. So she was on us. Kids would talk crazy to her, disrespect her all the time, but I was like, this one right here, this is who I'm gonna learn from.
I feel that.
So yeah, it was.
You mentioned that y'all used to work on each other. So like y'all was putting clippers and all that to each other.
Clippers, color, undercut, lineups. We jacked each other up. So my locks now are about 12 years old. But in the beginning, when I went to barber school, they was maybe 5 years old. I let people color them. I had a little undercut. That's where I got the little fade on the side. Like I was really open-minded to letting people explore down. Don't get me wrong. I was picky on who could and how they could. But that's just kind of where the excitement of learning and switching it up. That's why I first had color in my locks. That's why I first got my actual legit lineup, you know, stuff like that. So it was fun. It was fun for sure.
I feel that. I got a question for you. So now we made it through barbering school. You now are branching off and you start your own business, right?
Yes.
Did you started it right out of barbering school?
Like 2 months after I graduated.
Facts.
2 months. So I it's crazy because this guy hit me up and he was like, hey, I see you're in barber school. I'm looking for barbers. I want to hire. And he was like, I think it was maybe about three people that hit me up. He stood out because of his location in the Vincent area. So, and that's how we got up on our first shop.
Yeah.
So I worked at that shop before I actually owned the shop. And I worked there for maybe about 2 months until something went wrong between him and the landlord. They had a miscommunication, a falling out. And she came up to us, the people who was renting out space, and was like, y'all got 2 days to get up out of here. We had no idea. So it was me, it was a lash tech, and then it was a, make sure you rest in peace. And then it was a tattoo artist. So we sitting there doing work, and she's like, yeah, I got a couple of days to be up out of here. Like the owner, whoever is in control of y'all money has not been paying me. We like, what you mean pack up? We're in, we panicking. We're like, we've been paying our booth rent. What you mean? Like, and she's like, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It's the end. So when she was coming in to do her like cleaning out of the space while we were still packing up, she literally came up to me and she was like, you know what, Shan? Like, you are here a lot. I see you working a lot. I see that you're consistent. Where are you going to go? And I was like, I honestly don't know. I have a friend off 24th with a shop. I might go work there until I open my own thing. She was like, you want to open your own shop? I was like, yeah. She was like, boy, if you got the money, then you could take over this lease. She didn't require me to do no funding. She didn't require me to do no business plan. I mean, in the time, it was a blessing. But after about a couple of years, I realized it was not a blessing. Dealing with private landlords is crazy. Yeah. But nonetheless, I reached out to Brandon after she said that because I had only a couple $1,000s saved and I knew that we had to get the place furnished. And I remember him from barber school. He was always cool and funny, goofy dude, and always seemed like he was about his money. I'm like, hey, Brandon, you want to go in on a shop? Like, this lady's offering. He's like, yo, this is crazy. This is perfect timing because the dude I'm working around right now, it ain't working out. I'm like, come on. So we ended up signing a lease with her, and that's literally how we started our shop. About 2 months after I graduated, and we just literally got thrown into it. Yeah. We was in there painting. We had the paint gun, spraying the walls. Paint was in my hair, my eyelashes. It was on the floor. The lady came in there flipping out. It was a crazy experience. I don't regret it for a second, but it was that's how I became a business owner. I didn't take any of the actual steps. It was literally handed to me. Do you want it? You can have it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to say no. I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, what you think? She said, do it.
That's God right there.
Definitely God.
That's God. That's Absolutely. God setting you on your trajectory.
Woo.
For real.
Absolutely.
Real. Yeah.
She was like, do it. And I was like, yeah. I mean, it's here.
I think what a lot of people don't realize, especially when it comes to like starting a business, it's like, you just got to go do it.
Yes.
Like you got to go do it. And I think in this situation that you explaining right here, God was telling you, just do this. Like, I got this opportunity for you right here.
Yep.
And like you said, a couple of years later, you was like, maybe this wasn't the best spot.
Right.
But like you needed to go on that journey, on that process to be able to see that, because I think for a lot of us who are even thinking about starting businesses, we get so caught up in the whole planning and trying to figure it out and when should I actually jump off the porch with this idea just and like I don't got this, I don't know if it's the right time. It's like no, you just got to go out there and do it, and you got to learn from this.
Learn while you're in it.
Exactly.
100%.
Because when you do that, you gain all the knowledge you need to make the next step. Because there's always going to be setbacks. There's always going to be things that you could do better on. It's always going to be areas where you miss the blind spots or whatever.
Absolutely.
But the best way to be able to see those is by just going through
being in it. Absolutely. I've learned so much more. I feel like being in it versus sitting back and watching someone, because when you're experiencing it as a business owner, it's right here, right now. If the building's burning down, they're calling you. If it floods, they're calling you. You got to learn here and now. And it's like, it's hands-on. You have no option. And when you throw yourself into it, it makes you a stronger, and I believe a better business owner in general, because you're faced with it. And being faced with it immediately, you have to deal with it immediately. So how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to take some time to thank you for taking time out of your day to tune into this video. But also on the same note, I wanted to let you know that only 12% of you right now are actually subscribed to the channel. So like, I would truly be grateful if you just hit that subscribe button for me and continue to tune into this content that I'm producing. I also wanted to let you know that I got something big planned for y'all. If you're an entrepreneur, business owner, or somebody who's looking to make money online, then you don't want to miss out on this 5-day workshop that I'm putting on. It's called the Mindset to Money Challenge. During this workshop, I will be unveiling all of my secrets that help me go from no clients, no business, no nothing, to making over $850,000 in the last 3 years. And check this out, I'm not holding anything back. everything that I use and know I will be giving to you during this, because the thing that I want to see happen is that you flourish in your business, that your entrepreneurship booms, and that whatever dollar that you're trying to touch, you're able to do that. So be sure to drop down in the description. I think we're gonna put the link somewhere down there. Drop down in that description, click that and lock in your spot ASA, Mother Loving P. And also, I would encourage you, make sure you get a VIP ticket, because with that VIP ticket, you're gonna be able to access a Q&A that happens before the workshop happens, where you get direct contact with me. You can ask me anything. And I promise you, I'm an open book. I'm not holding anything back, because I wanna see you thrive. So again, make sure you lock in your spot to the Mindset to Money Challenge today. And I'll be sure to see you there. Now let's get back to the video. Peace. Question for you on that. Like, being a business owner, what are some of the challenges or adversities you faced when it comes to running your business, and then also making sure your mental health is good?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so it's crazy because I think most of the adversities I've faced when it comes to being a business owner is people. I don't think, like you said earlier, it's God. We've said it multiple times. God has just blessed me abundantly when it comes to clientele and being financially stable and able. So that was not a big problem. Also because I jumped off the porch at 12. So a lot of my family members who hair I used to cut and stuff like that was sending their friends. So a lot of them still come to me to this day. So the financial income was not a problem. It was more so the people that I was dealing with. So it came down to the people I was working with and the clients that I had. So it's so crazy because what I realized being a barber and a business owner is that your clientele grows with you. So when I had my first shop, there were certain things that I was putting up with. There were certain people I was surrounded by, because in that moment, that's who I was. In that moment, that's what I was attracting. And I was semi-okay with it because I wasn't okay with myself with a lot of things that I was doing. So it was easy for me to deal with these people because they was moving like that. They drinking, smoking at the shop. We turning up. We doing A, B, C, and D. We messy. We being in everybody's business. We being drama filled. But I realized that it became a problem when it became time for me to change. It became a problem when the shift happened in my mind, mentally, personally, where I was like, this is not okay. I want to grow. I want to change. I want to be better. And even sitting down, it's so crazy because it's like a post I made on Instagram when it was like, when you dealing with Black people and you eat healthy and you walk into the room and everybody laughing at you and you like, I'm just trying to be better. Like, dang, y'all. But that's kind of how it was. And growing with separating myself from people and getting away from those people, removing those people. And even when I wanted to hold on to people, God snatched them away. So when it came time for me to grow, that is where I faced most of my challenges. Honest to God truth. When it came time for me to shift and change, that is when it became a problem for others and myself. Honestly, I wasn't always perfect. I wasn't always doing right. But when I tried to, that's when the conflicts arise. When you stop sitting in that drama, sitting in that mess, sitting in that constant neglect of your business and who you are as a person, then it's easy. But once you decide to grow and change and shift and mature and actually, like you said, work on your mental health, your physical health, go to the gym, eat better, that's when it's like it rubs people wrong. Who are you? Who do you think you are? You're not better than us. What do you mean you doing this? No, I'll take a shot. You cool. You know what I mean? Like, It just became a part of the, it became a part of a shift that needed to happen. It became a part of a separation. And the separation was hard. It was very hard. But once I got past that, took off running. Because now I know, even though my business is personal to me, it's not personal for me. So when it comes to how I deal with people now, it's business. It's not personal.
That's good. That's good. You really hit it right on the head. Like, whenever we're in seasons or periods of growth, like the people around us who know us, we're gonna put them air quotes up, who know us, right? Who know us at a certain point in time, you can notice that it makes them uncomfortable to see you not be that version of yourself.
Absolutely.
It makes them super uncomfortable. And it almost puts the person who's trying to grow in a position of like, is this really the right thing that I'm doing? Like, should I be growing? I see the people around me that are disproving of this. But something that I realized for myself is like, if people around you are not doing that, then you actually aren't growing. You actually are staying the same. The people around you should become a little bit uncomfortable with this new version of you.
Absolutely.
If you really are on this path and journey of growth. And at that point, that's where it's like, if I want to continue to grow, I have to start to change my surroundings, because this environment right here is not conducive to this. How I think of it, like, my sister loves plants. I try to like plants, but like, I don't got time to like plants like that. I want to make more time to like plants, but like, I like to look at it as like, if I got this plant and I got it in a little pot, right? That plant can only grow so much. It's only until I break that pot and I put it into a bigger pot can that plant really start to sprout the way that it's supposed to. And it's the same thing with ourselves. Like we a lot of times keep ourselves in this small perimeter, this small environment, this place where it's comfortable, and that plant will get comfortable. It'll get comfortable. Its roots will start growing around itself. And if it grow around itself too much, it becomes root bound and it gets root rot. And when it gets root rot, it dies. And that's the same thing with us when we're content with being comfortable.
Absolutely.
So I got a question for you to follow up on what you just said. What were some of the things that were going on in your life that kind of pushed you or indicated to you like, I need to change some of the things that I'm doing. I need to change some of the habits or the environments that I'm in.
It started with a relationship. The woman I'm married to now, my wife, Aaliyah, shout out to her.
Shout out.
But it started when I started actually dating her. And it was just a different perspective. She had worked at different salons and barbershops, and she had told me the same thing you told me earlier, like the percentage. She was like, they've been on percentages. They've been on percentages. This is something that they do. And it was, at that time, the transition, it didn't make sense. Now that I'm open-minded, me and you were talking about it, I mean, it's something that I could possibly consider. You know what I mean? It's a part of the process. But it started off with dating her and getting into her element while she was getting into mine and learning each other. And also her just really knowing the business. She had been a licensed cosmetologist for years before I had even went to barber school. She went fresh out of high school. So she had been on it, doing it. She worked at multiple salons. And she really broke down to me like the aspects of a business and how businesses have been succeeding around her from what she's seen, and how beautiful things are and how you can grow in business. And it started with me having a conversation with her about like where I want to be. You know, when you date someone or even when you become friends with someone, you sit down and you have a conversation. What are your goals? What is it looking like the next 3 to 5 years? I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do. She's like, well, some things about what you're doing right now got to change in business. And for me, first hearing that in the state that I was at the time, I'm like, what do you mean? No, like change. What? Like, no, I'm going to just save up my money and do this and do that. She's like, no, your environment is going to have to change. The people that you surround yourself with is going to have to change. In order for you to level up, everything around you has to level up, because how you do anything is how you do everything. So it started off with the discipline of being in a relationship, being open-minded, holding myself accountable, and actually wanting to do better and wanting to change. And that is how it began. And it's like you said, it started off with me starting to become uncomfortable and starting to realize like, okay, when it comes to business, there's certain things that I need to do. And I come from a family of business owners. So my parents both own businesses. My siblings own businesses. My sisters, shout out to them all too. Love y'all. But every time I've sat down with them before having a business and we had conversations, it was always about stress, taxes, income, putting out more than you putting in. I was like, I love them, but I don't want to be like that. I want to be one of the business owners that actually uses this business to create generational wealth. So it started with that conversation. It started with that relationship. And once I got into that relationship, then I started attracting different friends who also were business owners who were saying the same thing. Because sometimes you can hear it from your wife a million times, and then you hear it from the homie and you're like, wait a minute.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, once I kept hearing it, then I was like, okay, I have no option but to level up right now. I'm being forced into this position and I want it. I'm asking for it. So let's do it.
Was that process comfortable?
Absolutely not. To this day, it's still not. This whole remodel that I'm going through right now was not comfortable. It's still not comfortable right here. I still have things I need to do to perfect the space and how I want it to look, but it's going to take time. I've learned during this renovation, and I've done about 3 renovations total, but I've learned during this one in particular, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So I'm actually embracing the process of getting there. So I have Sekou, shout out to him. He's been recording with me for about 2 months now on the whole process. So once he drops, it's going to be the whole
so you got a movie.
A movie coming out. A movie's going to be premiering real soon.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about
He do
that.
good work with the camera.
Oh,
he do
amazing.
real good work. Yeah, he did a little yeah, shout out Say Cool. He did a little snippet for Dupree, Black Power.
Oh yeah,
Redevelopment.
Black Power Electric. Yeah,
yeah, he showed me that. I said, oh dang, he doing something.
I
with
seen
this.
him at church yesterday too.
Yeah, that's big. I feel that. Question off of that. What are some myths? Because you said your family is full of entrepreneurs. What are some myths that we need to start challenging, just like in the Black community, when it comes to being an entrepreneur and our mental health?
Ooh-wee. What are some myths? So it's crazy because your questions, they trigger me to have a conversation with the answer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Go ahead.
So I'm sorry if I don't directly answer.
Do that.
But
do
okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like when it comes to being African American and owning a business, one of the biggest myths I'll say is that owning a business is for everybody, and that owning a business is easy, and that owning a business will make you rich. First off, it's definitely not for everybody. I questioned it millions of times if it was even for me after I was already a business owner. It will not make you rich. You put in the work, then you receive the money, or I'll say the return, however that is. But it's not something that is lucrative. I think in the Black community, we look at it like, oh, you're a business owner, you got money. You don't make money for about the first 3 to 4 years. Everything you make is going into that business if you want it to grow and you want it to be successful. That's why a lot of businesses also fail, because people go in there like, I'm about to drop a merch line. I'm about to get on Facebook. Hey, $100 a suit. Like,
Yeah.
Until I run out. And that's it. It's like, there's so many more avenues to owning a business. It's not financial. It is mental. It is emotional for you personally. It does come down to who you are and how you run that business. And in our community, I feel like how we're steered wrong is that hop into a business, own a business, don't work for the man, don't work for hourly, but it's challenging. We got to do our own taxes. We got to do our own insurance. We have to do our own dental. We have to do our own savings and our own transfers and our own, it's so many moving parts to being a business owner that it's a science behind it. It's a science behind it. And it's okay if you're not a business owner. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. And it's not, I feel like too, it's something that we lag on when it comes to learning about the legalities behind it. When we was talking about taxes, I'm like, listen, I need the second grade education because I need to know. And it's because I was pushed into it how I was, which was it still is a blessing. It's just now I have to backpedal. I have to go back to step 1 and step 2 and learn the things that I did not know about in order for me to success at level 4 or 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it requires a lot of hard work and a lot of time. And although it's more rewarding than working for anybody ever, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I will say that it is more work. I will work for myself 80 hours a week before I work for someone else 50 hours a week. So,
because that's my business.
Yes,
like,
thank you. It's mine. Stuff, it's my baby. Yeah.
But I think you hit it right on the head. Like, owning a business is not for everybody. Like, I remember, especially during the pandemic, everybody was talking about, go get your LLC, PPP. Like, you get hey, and a lot of people had to pay that PPP right back. Had to pay it right back. But it really ain't for everybody. Like, sometimes just being able to clock in and get your salary is better than owning a business, because when you get your salary and clock in, you know what your shift is, you know what your schedule is, you know what you what you do have to do and what you're not about to do.
Yep.
You got your lunch break. Like, you can expect everything.
Yes.
You got your 401k, you got your insurance, you got all of that. You running your own business, you don't got your 401k unless you set it up yourself and you know somebody and you're paying your broker. You don't, like you said, you don't got your taxes covered.
Come on.
And it's like, yeah, I just made 6 figures. I made $100,000. Go ahead and give Uncle Sam 40% of that. Unless you're doing it right.
40 bands?
Yeah. And it's like, dang, all right, I just went from 100,000 to 60,000, but I don't even got the 60,000 to give back. Like, come on now. You don't, like, your time off. Most people are like, I go into work when I want to. Yeah, you go into work when you want to, because you got to go into work because you got to.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't go into work, you don't got money coming in.
Thank you.
And so it's like, you're absolutely right. owning a business is not for everybody, and it can become mentally taxing and exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
So like I always tell people, like, you got to weigh out the pros and cons. Are you somebody that has discipline? Are you somebody that truly is driven, that can show up even when you not generating what you are expecting to generate? Are you somebody who has the know, like you said, like, I need to invest into this 3 to 4 years to really build this up, to actually see my return? Because like, if you don't got the long game and you starting a business, like, don't do that. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your money. There's so many people out there who think like, oh, I got this get rich quick. Like, I got this thing that I could just do real quick for 4 hours a day. Like, nah. Like, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself.
It's a setback.
A huge setback.
It's a setback more than anything. And it's like trying to get rich quick, make this money real quick, they're not organizing the details of what you need to do with this money. And that's another thing when it comes to our community and businesses and finances, which I'm learning, is that it's not how much money you make, it's what you do with the money you do make. How are you met? Why would you be blessed with $5,000 a week if you don't know how to work with your $500 a week?
Come on.
Your $500 a week, you blowing it. And the bills are still late, and stuff is still getting cut off.
Fit fresh though.
Fit fresh.
You got your grill in, like you flexing like that. I think that's the big thing. It's it's like if you running a business and you taking all the profits and proceeds and you're just blowing it, right? You taking trips, you look good, you eating good, you trying to bless everybody. It's like your business is not going to last. And I wish in our community, that's something that we really started to realize. It's like, we got to be financially literate with the money that we got. We got to learn how to maneuver $500 if we really want to be able to have the blessing of like you said, the blessing of 5,000. Because like, why am I going to get $5,000 when I'm going to do the same thing with that 5,000 that I did with the 50 that I just had? Because I don't got nothing. Exactly. Exactly. No, that's good. That's good. I got another question for you. This one's a little bit deeper. We're gonna start touching in on some things. A few years back, I know you had a big setback. Real big setback.
Oh yeah.
Can you walk us through that setback and what happened and how you came through that?
Absolutely. And it's taken me a while to get comfortable with sharing. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm more than comfortable with sharing now. But
Yo, real quick, I almost forgot. As a licensed therapist, I'm big on mental health and I'm big on making sure that you're taking care of you. And I also want to get rid of this stigma that we got towards mental health. Like, there's nothing wrong with talking to a therapist. So if you're somebody that's out there that really wants to start getting their mind right, who wants to really start understanding their emotions and being able to process things that you probably repressed, that you probably ain't talked about, that you might have been even ashamed about talking about. Or check this out. You might not be ashamed about it and you just ain't found a person for you to talk to. You want to find somebody that's relatable, that can understand you, got a little swag, you know what I'm saying? A little swag. And they not too far removed. Make sure that you tap in with Bear Company Counseling. All you got to do is hop down in the description, click the link, put in your info, and the front desk rep will reach out to you and get you plugged in with a therapist that I promise you, as long as you're ready, will help you to get whatever you need right up here so that you can succeed in every other avenue and aspect of your life. Tap in with a therapist today at Bear Company Counseling. Now you can get back to the video for real. I promise I won't hop back in again.
So one particular day, I'm kicking it with my boys. We out kicking it or whatever. We at a little bar, having drinks, taking shots, doing whatever, playing pool, having a good time. And in the moment, one of them comes up to me, and they're not from here. They're both from Louisiana, and they actually moved back after everything happened because they also got shot.
Yeah.
So they come up to me like, yo, Shan, do you know this girl? They show me pictures. You know this girl? I'm like, no, I don't know her. She don't look familiar. Like, oh, she having a birthday party tonight, but it's at the after-hour spot. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, shoot. I mean, it's already about 2 a.m., but, forget it. We already here. We about to turn up. Let's do it. They send me the address. I'm like, all right, bet. Meet y'all there. We get there, and it's so crazy, Peyton, because as soon as I got there, my whole body was like, absolutely not. But I went against it. And I was like, no, I'm going to just go in. It's her birthday. Let me just have a shot or whatever. So we get into the after hour spot. And it's right off of 29th, 30th and Ames. So we know where that area. No, 33rd and Ames. Yeah. So we know where that area is, right by North High. So we get in there. We in there kicking it. As soon as we walk in, again, my body's like, go home. Like, what are you doing here? This ain't even your zone. This ain't your environment. It's after hours. Your wife gonna be tripping. You about to get phone calls. Like, just go your butt home. You already drunk. You probably shouldn't even be driving. It's so many things going against you right now that God is like screaming, leave. Don't be here. So I'm in there. And another red flag, somebody is in there smoking a Black and Mild in the building.
No.
I don't remember seeing a window. So they hotboxing this Black and Mild. And I didn't even know how long I was in there until after everything happened, because the police, they get down to the nitty gritty. They get all the details. They're like, you were only in there for 19 and a half minutes. Why were you in and out so quick? What do you have going on? Because they treated me like a suspect in the beginning.
Oh, dang.
So I'm in there. We in there about 19 minutes. And about 15 minutes in, I told them, I'm like, y'all, I'm about to just leave. Like, I'm just not feeling it. Like, my body, my energy, my vibe, I'm not even gonna have a good time. Like, it's time to go. So my homie at the time, who knew the birthday girl, he's like, all right, Shannon, we can go. We already lit. Like, it's cool. Let's just take one more shot with the birthday girl. And I was like, y'all can. I'm gonna record y'all taking a shot, but I can't take no more. I can't do nothing. I need to go home. I need some water. So they taking a shot. I'm recording them taking a shot. When I tell you, Peyton, right after that shot, not even 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds, I'm like, all right, let's go. We're walking out the door. As we're walking out the door, when I step my foot on the edge of the door, like the strip that separates the street and the door, pop, 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 I'm hearing shots go off. Now we walking out the door, so they're behind me. Yeah. The shots are behind me. So I'm immediately panicking. So I'm kind of doing like a little, just trying to I'm in shock. I'm trying to get myself together. I'm looking at him and my bro's going to the right. I'm trying to go to the left. My car's on the left side. So he's running to the right. And I hear him say, I'm hit. And immediately I'm like, you ain't shot. Like, I'm just in shock, So I look back at him. As I look back at him, he's falling to the ground, and I turn to my left and my legs give out on me. As soon as I turn, my legs give out. I'm laying on the ground and I'm just feeling my body just shaking and getting weak. And I'm sitting here, and just the comic in me is immediately like, I know you didn't come here and get your ass shot. Like, you didn't got here and got hit. Because when you're in the moment, and it was such a powerful moment for me, because laying on the ground and bleeding out in that moment, it was like peaceful. But it was like almost, because everything around me just went like numb. And it was just me in my head talking to myself, like, I know you didn't just get up here and get shot. I know we're not laying on this ground on Ames, almost in the street, bleeding out to the point where we're losing consciousness, gaining consciousness. I remember the birthday girl, because I was right in front of the front door. So the birthday girl standing over me screaming, and I'm so in shock and just bleeding out that I'm just looking at her. I can't even talk. I'm just looking at her. And in my mind, I'm like, how she's screaming and reacting is, did I get my legs blown off? Like, in my mind, I'm like, this is it. And something came over me to this. I'm telling you, can't make this up. God and angels, guardian angel, whatever, came to me in that moment when I was panicking because she's screaming, and something was like, relax. This ain't it, but relax. But you got to relax. So I submit. I relax. I lay there. Next time I come to, it's a police officer on the ground. She's laying next to me, and she's talking to me like, you're going to be okay. The ambulance is on the way. They're coming. They're about to put you on a gurney, like trying to tell me what's going on, trying to make sure that I'm conscious. You know what I mean? She's trying to bring me back. In between all of this fuzziness, at some point, someone was trying to perform CPR on me. Thank God for her. But I didn't need CPR at the moment. I was bleeding out. So my heart rate, my blood pressure, everything was dropping drastically, just dropping. I was still breathing, but I just needed to get the bleeding stopped. So the ambulance get there. Oh, also in that moment, while the police officer is like laying down next to me, talking me through it, she's on the phone with my wife. And I'm not even registering. This is something I'm being told later. She said that the reason she was on the phone with my wife is because my phone was ringing and she seen wife pop up. So she answers like, hey, by this time it's like, what, 3:34 in the morning almost? And she answers and she's like, hey, this is Officer so-and-so. My wife in the moment is like, why a female answering your phone after 3 a.m.? Who the is this? Yeah. And the officer's like trying to talk her down, like, calm down. I'm with your wife. We're transferring her to the hospital. She's been shot. Like, give my wife information. So my wife rushed to the hospital. By this time, let me back up some. So I do not remember being in the ambulance. I do not remember that drive at all. I was completely out of it. You were out? I was out. And then my friends who got shot too, by the time I was out and surgery and everything happened, they were in surgery too.
Mm.
And the funny thing about it is when I first heard it, I was kind of like feeling the type of way, but I'm like, everybody like, you got shot in the ass. And I'm like, at first I was just like, yo, I wasn't even trying to admit it when people was asking. I'm like, yeah, I got shot. Embarrassed. But I'm like, no, that's where I got shot. Yeah. But I realized that getting shot in that location, your butt is protecting your organs. I did not know. You know what I mean? I was not medically inclined or even interested. But when a bullet went through, it went through my left. It's kind of between the butt cheek and the hip because how it hit was kind of an awkward slanted spot. So it went through my colon, it went through my bladder, and it ran into my hip. And by the grace of God, instead of it shattering, because it was supposed to shatter my whole hip. Yeah. I shouldn't even be walking today. My hip, where it hit it in the groove, redirected the bullet. Mm. So it went. So my actual bullet right now is still in my leg. It's in my thigh, because that's how hard it hit my hip bone and redirected. So it's in my thigh right now. But back to the story. Okay, so I get to the hospital, and when I come to, I'm like post-op. I wake up, my whole body is like bandaged. I got like this big, huge bandage wraps on me. I'm not seeing what's going on. I got this tube down my nose, down my throat. I have a surgery drain on my side. I got all these IVs. I'm beep, beep. Everything is beeping. I'm just like, first thing I said is, I need to call my wife. I need to call my mom. They're already here. We've already talked to them. By now, I'm drugged up. So I'm coming out of it. I'm coming back to reality. So I get to the room, and this is where the process starts of some type of healing. But I was in hospital for 10 days, and I was supposed to be there longer. But on that 10th day, it was the day before Thanksgiving. I told them, I said, I need to be up out of here for Thanksgiving because I'm trying to eat some food. Because they had me on the all liquid, all mush diet.
Ain't it?
Yeah, and then they had me hooked up to all this stuff. So eventually I get out the hospital. I go home, and I'm like, okay, this is about 2 weeks after everything's happened. My phone was ridiculous. When I tell you I had over 1,000 messages, and there's to this day, we're 2 years later, there's still messages I have not been able to open. Thank God for everybody who shouted out. Thank God for everybody who donated to my GoFundMe. Love and appreciation. Y'all saved my business, honestly. But when I got to my mom's house, that's where I was doing a lot of my healing at, because my wife was taking care of our house, our dogs, our business, trying to make sure everything stay afloat. It was crazy. It was crazy because to this day, like they'll share stories with me, like, yeah, this one day when you was in a wheelchair, I was in a wheelchair for almost 2 months.
Oh, dang.
I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to balance my weight. I had to do physical therapy, occupational therapy, and mental health therapy. Shout out to Marquisha, Dr. Frost. That was saved my life. She used to pull up on me when I was in a wheelchair at my mom's house. But when I relearned how to walk, and I realized that the support I had from the community here, unmatched. The love was loving. From family, from friends, from clients, from all of that. The love was loving, and I appreciate that. That was like a big don't move. Because I was about to move.
Yeah.
We was about to leave. We was about to go to Texas. We was about to go to Houston, restart our businesses. We was about to do the whole thing all over again. And it was like, no, your love is here. Sit in this, enjoy this, embrace this. I'm trying not to get emotional on this podcast.
Go ahead.
Whew. But coming back to the business aspect on everything, once I learned how to walk again, about 2 months later, where are we at? It happened in November. So January is when I learned how to walk again. February, I was able to go back to the shop. Okay, let's get things moving. So I had an ostomy bag. Ooh, I had the ostomy bag for 7 months.
Mm-hmm. That's a different type
that thing there. And it's crazy because when I was going through, I had a lot of questions because I'm not in the medical field. I'm trying to ask, what's going on? What is this? Help me understand what's going on in my body. And they're like, because you got hit through, and I had a catheter.
Oh, dang.
At the same time.
So you couldn't even.
I couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. I couldn't walk, couldn't use the bathroom on my own. And it was like learning how to deal with the ostomy bag was disgusting, for one. That there, I could write a book on that. I joined ostomy clubs and people. I learned that there's people who was born with conditions where they have to live with the ostomy bag for the rest of their life. And I was like, ooh, again, that's God. Because I couldn't. One time I was at my mom's house and I had to change it. You know, the ostomy bag, just for people who don't know, you basically have to poop outside of your body. So your intestines, they take a part of your small intestine, they remove it, they put it on the outside of your body. So when your food digests, it comes into this bag instead of you actually having to digest normally or use the bathroom normally, pee or anything. So it's coming into this bag, and you know, every day, 2-3 times a day, when you, depending on what you're eating and how you're eating, you got to change this bag.
Yeah, and you don't get to pick when the bag go.
Absolutely
it
not.
just do it. It just
do it.
Yeah.
It just do it. It is not. You don't have a moment where it's like, oh, I got to use the bathroom. Let me go. That was for me for about 6 months. That did not happen. It was the most awkward, uncomfortable thing ever. But it's also the uncomfortable when you grow the most. I learned the most. So when it came time for me to change it one time, my mom to this day, she laughed. She'd be cracking up. She's like, I came in the bathroom one day to check on you and you was changing your ostomy bag. She said, and you were gagging, about to throw up. She gonna say, yeah, your shit stink too, don't it? And I was like, Mama, I can't do it. My wife was changing it for me. That's love. Oh, that's love. She was changing it for me. So that lasted for about a good 6 months. I'll say I probably got comfortable and used to it about 3 months in. Mm-hmm. But even then I had to wear this band when I was in public. Cause like you said, it's gonna go when it's gonna go. You sitting there, if I had it right now, right on me, it probably would be farting. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I cannot control it. It's just how your body is moving your food. It just happens. It's part of nature. But when I finally got rid of the ostomy, I had to go in for about 3 different surgeries. This is like on my way to healing. Now, I was working. When I got back I got back in February, back to walking around and moving. I started working about, I'll say late March, early April. I still wasn't supposed to, but being stubborn, I was like, I got to do something, y'all. I can't be, this is depressing. I need to get out and do something. And I got back into working, and I had the ostomy bag on me. So when it's going off and I'm cutting hair and stuff, I'm like, yo, I am so sorry. But most people knew what had happened to me, so they were understanding. And thank God I had a band that controlled anything. And I had that tight strip. I did the most. I didn't want no smells. I did the most. I was cologne and oiled down, lotion down. I said, I don't want to smell nothing. Because sometimes it would have little holes in it that would rise. And if you farted, it's a fart. You're going to smell this. Yeah. But thank God I handled that pretty well. And then by the time I got it removed, it was like a couple months after I had been working. So I got used to it. Getting it removed and everything, getting back on my feet, getting back into my clientele. But the surgeries were just like that whole year. So it's 2025. I got hit in 22. And the whole year of 2023 was still me recovering mentally, emotionally, physically. I had 24 staples. After I got hit, they had to cut me open from the chest all the way down to right in between the hips. They had to literally open me up, surgical, because they had to find out where all this bullet went. You know, they had to figure out if it broke out, if it broke in pieces, if it hit other organs or whatever. Because I almost died. I had to get, I think, 3 blood transfusions before they could perform the surgery when I got transported to the hospital. So it was a lot. It was so much going on. It was so much. And it pulled me away from my business, but it made me take things more serious. And when you're going through tragedy, you realize the people around you quicker than ever. It's almost like your celebrations and your tragedy bring out the realness in the people who are around you. If you have a celebration or you have something that is a tragedy in your life, you realize if they real or they fake. The people around you will show their true colors. And it's almost like godly how it's getting pulled out of them. They can't even hide it no more. Either they're going to celebrate you, they're going to support you, or they're going to flake and they're going to be over it. And it was shown to me so many times. So, I mean, from family, friends, people who worked at the shop with me, all kind of stuff. It was crazy. It was so crazy how quickly it happened. But I thank God that it did happen. Because if I did not get shot, I wouldn't be who I am today. My shop wouldn't be where it is today. My marriage wouldn't be where it is today. And I would not have the capacity to be who I am just as a person. So I feel like getting shot, almost dying, literally saved my life. I wouldn't trade that day for nothing. The experience, the surgeries, the bullet in my leg to this day, I wouldn't trade it. Because I can't even tell you who I was at the time. I was so lost. I was all over the place. So it definitely, it made me who I am today.
That's huge. That's huge.
Man.
Being able to, and this is what I work with clients on. Like, I truly believe, like, when you get to a point to where you're able to find the meaning in whatever it is you're going through,
Oof.
like that's the most powerful piece. Mm-hmm. Because we go through so much shit in our lives. We go through so much shit. And sometimes some of the shit we go through is, you know, it's cool, like whatever, I made it through this. And other times it's like, how am I even supposed to bear this?
Yeah.
But in each one of those circumstances, once we find the meaning, like when we're able to identify that, that's when it becomes a game changer.
Absolutely.
And so I'm curious for you, because I could only imagine, and maybe you were able to from the jump. Like, were you able to identify and like be able to say, like, I'm grateful that I went through this? Or like, when did you get to that point of like?
I was stubborn. I was angry. Don't get me wrong. I was never a rude person, like towards my I call it my care crew, like my therapist and stuff like that. But I was stubborn. I was angry. I was mad. I was hurt. It took me probably, I'll say, it's been 2 years. I'll say about 1.5 years before I sat back and was like, you know what? That needed to happen to me. I wouldn't be who I am today without that at all. By a mile. I wouldn't be able to set boundaries. I wouldn't be able to set standards. I wouldn't be able to have real conversations, look people in their eyes and talk to them and be like, this is not okay with me. It really changed the tone of who I am and who I'm still becoming. And I realized that about 1.5 years after I had already healed and got back into the business, because during the time of getting shot, I had to reset everything. It was down to me and my wife, and I just literally before I got shot, I just hired 2 barbers, not even a month before I got shot. Shout out to Neek and Trail. May he rest in peace. But Neek had to take over my clients, and my clients was coming by the tons. It was coming by the tons. And when something happens to you, people are attracted to tragedy as well. So everyone was coming into the shop wanting to check. Forget it. I'll come pay for a haircut just so I could talk. What's going on with Shannon? How she do? You know what I mean? Just checking in and stuff like that. But she had to take that on. And at the time, it wasn't even financially feasible for us to keep the shop. That was, again, the grace of God and family and GoFundMe and my wife working and doing her contracts and stuff. But about 1.5 years after that, once I got to realizing and sitting down in therapy, for sure, that it was a blessing was when I seen the aftermath, how things changed, how things shifted. We're homeowners. I mean, like I said, we have a business. We just got done remodeling. We calling our financial year. We're learning about money. We're trying to get back into we're trying to think and grow rich, right?
Yeah, there we go.
That's where we at. So reading and writing, I got back into, let me get my mind on track. I got 1.5 years after, when I got back on track, on some type of track, I kept going to therapy. I started going to the gym. I started reading, and I started having Bible study. And those 4 things kept me going. I had to do them things. I'm getting back on track now after everything going on, but those things kept me going and kept me growing in the process, because it was like, what now? You know what I mean? What now? Like, after what? I almost died. This is crazy. I almost lost my life in the middle of the street. Crazy. But about 1.5 years later is when I realized, like, this was actually a blessing. So no need to be angry. I couldn't even drive past North High School for about 1 year. The trigger was like PTSD. It's very real. But about 1.5 years later is when I realized that I needed to go through some healing, mentally, emotionally, and financially. And I don't even have the words. You know, I don't have the words. It's just crazy. It's crazy. But I'm thankful for it. 100%. 100%.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
What did because you mentioned working with a therapist, and it sounds like that was a huge proponent
absolutely
in your growth. What did it look like working with your therapist?
So in the beginning of working with my therapist, when she was coming to the house, it was more so about just checking on my mental health throughout the process. Being in a wheelchair, learning how to walk, talk, eat, all that stuff, get back to normal. She was really more so working on just getting back to some type of normalcy in my life. And she was there. She was talking to me about my relationship, my marriage, talking to me about my relationship with friends, my relationship with my parents, just really trying to get down to the nitty gritty of how can we get your life back on track and what do those components look like? So let's unravel these things. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's write about it. Gave me a lot of homework. Had me sitting there really self-diagnosing. Had me sitting there really looking into the mirror. Like, okay, let's self-reflect. Why did this happen? Where were you at? What are your lifestyle choices? What's going on? How do we change that? So it kind of was, she was kind of unraveling me. And that helped me put me back together. And that was like, therapy for me was self-realization. That was the biggest thing. Self-realization, accountability. Accountability. I had to take accountability. I had to be open-minded to saying, you know what, I was wrong. I did this, in many instances. But it was just the self-work. It really was. I think my mental health therapy was more important than my physical therapy, because once my mental health started getting on track, when she was there checking me and telling me things to do, then my body responded differently to my physical therapy. Then my body was up. My body was ready. My body was able to move because my mind was right. And that's what I realized even to this day. If your mental health is what? Mental health therapy. You should be in the mental health therapist's office more than you're at the doctor. You should be in the mental health therapy more than you're at the gym. This is medication. We need this. This is where it's at. And you can't be afraid of yourself, because that's what it comes down to. You're afraid to sit down with yourself and realize that you're wrong and check it and be okay with being okay with being told no. Sit down, shut up. It's okay. We all be wrong. Ain't nobody perfect, Yeah. But the unraveling of my mental health therapy is what led to the re-raveling of my physical therapy and got me to where I am now. So that most important component. If I was still in a wheelchair to this day, mental health therapy, I think, would be my most important component to getting back to some type of normal life again. Absolutely.
You make a really good point. You make like a really good point. And I think just that piece of accountability, right? Like as you're going through it, and it led to that self-realization.
Absolutely.
Because I truly believe, especially like just as a therapist and like when I work with clients, the ones who fail to be accountable, and accountable doesn't necessarily mean like, it doesn't mean like everything you do is only your fault.
Right.
It's all your like, it doesn't mean that, but it's being able to be in the position of like, what can I own here?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're so quick to just be like this happened because of that. This happened because of that. This right here and this right here and this right. And we never like turn in and say, okay, like what part did I play here?
Yeah.
And that's in all parts of our lives, right? Like people want to change physically. People want to change financially. People want to change and all. They're like, man, I was dealt this bad hand. Okay, but what part do you play in this bad hand that you got?
Come on.
Oh, it ain't me, it's the man. But it's like, okay, yeah, it's the man, but what part
do
you have? Like we're so quick to give up control of our life. And it's like, at that point, shit, anything can happen to you. And like, you might as well just fucking get on your knees, bend over, close your eyes, and just wait for whatever to happen. Like, it's like, dang.
But for real,
you know what I'm saying?
You're allowing that. Yes, absolutely. Accountability is huge. It is so huge. It's crazy because when I sit back and I think about the conversation I could have had with the old me, and by the old me, I mean me just a couple years ago before getting shot, the accountability was not there. Just bullheaded, big-headed, just, I don't know. I don't know who that person is, and I'm not that person anymore. But accountability is huge. And it reflects how you do anything is how you do everything. It reflects how you move with everyone and everything in your life moving forward. If you want different, do different. If you want better, seek better. There's levels to everything. But if you're not willing to sit down with yourself first, and like you said, own it, then you might as well just sit there with a blindfold. Like you said, bend on over. Let what happens happen. Let what happens happen, because it's a part of growing. And it's not that bad. It is not that bad. It's really not. It's really not.
Let them know. Another thing that you mentioned, you said part of the things that you picked up was reading. Plug us into a couple of books that you felt like really changed your mindset and perspective.
Man, okay. So I read Eric Thomas's book. I've read Will Smith's book.
His autobiography?
You said one more time?
Will Smith's autobiography?
Yes.
Fire.
Oh my God, fire. Me learning about the history of that man and where he started, where he is now, it was amazing. Amazing. like I've dropped earlier, Think and Grow Rich. I have not finished it, but I am working on it. Rich Dad Poor Dad, I went back and reread that like a month ago. So I've been taking my notes. I've even been watching the video responses to the Arthur. I can't think of his name, but
Robert Kiyosaki.
There we go.
Yeah.
I've been watching his podcast and his interviews about money and finances, and people who are rich think rich. They think different. So that's just a part of me learning about my finances this year. But I'm all about the self-help books, and I love reading the autobiographies about people who are successful. I only read and I only look for people that I want to be like. I only look at things and learn from things that I admire. I'm not reading books that are, and nothing against anybody who is, but like fantasy and all that extra stuff. Have a great time, do you think? But for me personally, what feeds my soul is reading self-help books. Is reading, and I got a couple more in the chamber for sure. I didn't start Dr. Sebi's book about physical health, what you're eating, what you're doing to your body, and how to cure certain things. I'm trying to think. There was another one. There's a book that I just started actually with my wife, and we've been slacking, but we started a little bit. We probably like 1-2 chapters in, but it's called What Is It Like Being Married to Me?
Okay. And
you sit down with your wife or husband or whomever, and you have conversations and you do homework out of the books. The first assignment that we had to do was write a letter that we would want our wife or husband to read at our funeral. That book is deep. That book is deep. Yeah. And it was like, what do you want your spouse to say about you if you were to pass away today? And if there's things in there that you don't like, start working on them now. So it's all self-help. It's all, them are the type of books that I enjoy reading. And of course, right there next to the Bible, because what I also realized is that 99.999% of these self-help books pull from scripture.
All of them
pull from scripture.
All of them do.
Every single book.
They just repackage it.
You want to make a book and become an author, pull a scripture, diagnose that scripture, make a book out of it, and actually practice that scripture. Stand beside it and record and report how your life changes by you just sticking to that one scripture.
100%. 100%.
And that just amazing.
People don't realize how much game you could get from the Bible. They're like, man, this book's so boring. It's like, nah.
It's game.
That book will put you on game and will change your life.
Absolutely. And you don't even have to sit down and read the entire Bible in a year. You can sit down and you can read 2 scriptures right here, right now. And me and you can sit down and say, all right, 2 scriptures from the Bible, our favorite ones. Read them. Let's stick by this for the next 6 months and see how our life changed. 2 scriptures. That's it. Love thy neighbor. What we talking about?
Man.
Like it's just the simplicity of the Bible. It's almost suffocating to people who are ignorant because they're looking at it like a picture of all these millions of thou art, thou shall, when you can just literally download the Bible app, pull up a scripture, read it, stick beside it, and your life will change. You don't have to. Now, don't get me wrong. You should, of course, want to abide by it, but there's certain Bible scriptures that can change your entire existence. In 6 months.
That's the truth.
In 6 months.
Real quick, because we getting close to the time. If there's like 1 to 2 things from your testimony, from your journey, from your story that you would want the people to take away from it and really meditate on and just kind of sit with and start to apply to their life, what would that be?
Oh, man. Okay, 2 things. The first one I will say is be mindful of the company you keep. People who are around you will always show you who they are. Believe them. You will always see signs of people who will either support you or go against you. Just believe it. We got to stop being naive. We got to stop giving people a million chances, whether it be friendships, family, relationships, whatever the case may be. Just believe in the person that a person will show you because that's just who they are. And be open-minded to just accept the reality of this is who they are. Second thing would be, do not expect you from anyone else. Do not expect you from anyone else. There are people who will take and take and take, and there are people who will give and give and give. And for some reason, they always find each other. So make sure that if you are a giver, you stay around other givers because people will drain you and they will take the last up out of you 100%. So those are my 2 takeaways, which are crazy because they don't seem like they directly relate to what I've been through. But do they? 100%.
Love that.
100%.
Yo, I appreciate you coming on today. I appreciate you being vulnerable. I appreciate you being open. There's so many things that you talked about today that will impact so many people's lives.
I love that.
Like, truthfully, I feel like there's somebody who might not necessarily have the exact same story as you, but have similar traits, and things that you're saying are really going to resonate. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what this is all about. So again, like, I just appreciate you.
I appreciate you
being willing to come on and talk about it.
100%.
And for everybody out there that's watching, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of the CYR Podcast. When you clean your room, you will change your life.
Amen.
We out. Yeah, that was smooth.
Love it.
That was smooth.
I love that. Come on. Great. I felt great.
Yeah.
I felt great. Yeah.